Mithrandiel here at PAX West 2023. I'm at the Limited Run booth. Who am I joined by today?
So I'm Ben Moore. I'm the COO for Limited Run Games.
Amazing. So I feel like most people know who Limited Run are at this point, but for those who aren't familiar, what is Limited Run? What do you guys do, and why is it important?
Yeah, so we like to support the community by doing physical releases and special collector's editions. And we've really kind of cultivated building our business out of working with indies that typically wouldn't have a market to go to just because of the way that modern retail works and brick and mortar. So we've kind of built a much more efficient model for our partners to do a direct to consumer through our website at limitedrungames.com. The whole idea around it originally is that, we're all gaming enthusiasts at heart. We grew up in an era when we had physical games in our hands. That was the only way to play. And while it's been wonderful for the industry, for all the economies behind it, to have a digital delivery option, it's just kind of taken away some of the allure and like the final like physical form, that like the manifestation of a game that you really love. So we started this out of kind of the approach for preservation. A lot of times when you're buying digital games, we've seen it more and more as like older platforms with cherished titles. If you bought it digitally, once those go down, typically you don't have access anymore. Right. So the idea here is that you can actually own it forever, and then you have it to share with somebody down the road. So that's, and at heart what we do is like the reason retail kind of winded down back in the era that things really got tight and you only saw AAAs on the shelves. Was because of all the overhead and the sync and everything that comes along with the risk in major retail. So we tried to do our model built around this pre-order system. So we put games up for a limited window. That's where the name Limited Run comes from. So usually between 4 weeks, 6 weeks on our pre-order, we give the ability for customers to come to our website, place their pre-order, and then we go to manufacturing as soon as the sale closes. So that way we're controlling the overall risk of sync and all the cogs associated with manufacturing. And then it leaves something for our customers to actually feel like they have something special, because they know that when we have one of our numbered selections launched, that we don't go back and reprint.
Yeah. So you support indies in this way, but I've also noticed you guys bring some pretty big titles that I see, like Knights of the Old Republic on the shelf and that sort of thing. So like how does that relationship play in terms of like maybe bringing new iterations of really big and popular games to the shelves?
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's space for both. There's a lot of times just a lot of larger organizations, they don't see from the kind of the risk reward for them to do it internally, so they like to find outside parties. So we're huge gamers. We love to support indies. We love to support new things, retro titles. But who wouldn't love the opportunity to work on Star Wars Jedi Survivor if you get the opportunity?
Right.
And we find that a lot of times in these larger organizations, we find that they're very authentic gamers, very passionate about the physical media side themselves.
Yeah.
So they also, even on the larger studio side, are often looking for opportunities and people that will help support to bring a physical piece to kind of have a good cherished memory of the game or have a physical copy of it in their hands.
So it's more like a third party partnership for them to say like, hey, you know what, we would really like to bring more of this physical media to the market, but like as a large organization, maybe they don't either have the market research or they don't have like the apparatus in place to like check, like get a pulse check on the audience, and that's where you can come in and say, hey, let's see if there's interest in bringing this game back around. And then that's where you come into play with that.
Yeah, that's dead on. I mean, that's definitely the angle they usually approach it by, and we have built our business to be turnkey for partners, and I think that's the most important thing. So that way they don't have to do like 40% of it and then outsource a piece of it.
Right.
They can just bring it to us. We'll make sure everything's taken care of end to end.
I love that. So what are you guys bringing to PAX this year? What are you guys really excited to be showing off, and maybe some limited runs that might be coming up in the near future for gamers who want to support that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, I'd love to introduce Seth to be able to talk to what we have here with RZ.
Sure.
Hi. Hey, Seth. If you'd like to introduce yourself, talking about some of the things we're bringing here for Limited Run Games.
Sure, yeah.
I'd love to talk about RZ and what we're doing with it.
Yeah, I'm Seth Fulkerson. I'm the lead developer and creator on RZ, the Jewel of Faramore.
Awesome. So yeah, I've been checking out this game. Tell us a little bit more about like the inspiration for this game, maybe the what's influencing the visual style, and why it's important that it's coming to a physical media.
Sure. So the games are influenced by the early '90s FMV games, a certain pair of infamous fantasy adventure games from the early '90s.
That won't be named.
That will not be named.
Fair.
But yeah, it influences the visual aesthetic, sort of like the cartoon cutscenes that we're going for, and the general like gameplay style. My good friend and kind of like design collaborator John Lenneman He sort of described them best as kind of like a Monster World, kind of Shantae-esque kind of game, just how they generally play. As far as important coming to physical media, I think everything should come to physical media.
Yeah. I love it. So it's just like, is it just like an action title then? Are there like RPG elements? It's just kind of like,
It's an action platformer with like kind of light Metroidvania elements. It's a very like linear level-based game, but you go back through levels with your unlocked items and sort of like re-explore them again. So again, it's sort of like a Monster World game because like there's it's linear stage based, but you get items, power ups, unlockables, and sort of like re-explore those levels again with like a renewed perspective.
I love it. So how long has the game been in development?
It's been in development for almost 3 years now.
Okay. Well, when can we expect to have this hitting the shelves, digital shelves, that we can order it through Limited Run?
For now, I will just say coming soon.
Okay, sounds good. Coming soon. So no, we won't hold you to anything there. Well, thank you so much for your time introducing Arzette. Did we have something else to chat about today?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me introduce you to Thomas.
Okay, great. Hey there, Thomas. I'm Jeremy with the Geekly Grind. Want to tell me a little bit about what you have on display here and yeah, maybe the inspiration for it?
Yeah, for sure. What we've got is Rugrats Adventures in Gameland. It's a new game coming up for the NES early next year.
Awesome. New NES games coming out in the year of our Lord 2023. Who would guess it? So yeah, tell us a little bit more about like how long has the game been in development? Like what made you think, hey, you know what we need? We need a new Rugrats game on the NES.
Yeah, so it's been in development for about 2 years now. We've previously, like our team, were the mixed games. Previously, we did a game, Jay and Silent Bob Mall Brawl. So that was licensed with Kevin Smith with the Jay and Silent Bob property, and it did pretty well. We released it through Limited Run, and we just thought after that we got to look for licensed retro properties to make new retro content based on classic properties.
Yeah.
And Rugrats was available, and it was a great fit.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that brings up an interesting point too. Like, you know, going and getting these properties back and like kind of revitalizing them. Like, what does that even look like? Like, are you getting on the horn with like Nickelodeon? Like, hey, like we think that Rugrats is something that we should bring back because it's a cool property. Or are you noticing that companies are just like shopping around old IPs? Like, how does that relationship work, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because there's you come to different companies and you make your pitches with some various projects, and sometimes you might pitch one thing and they'll be, hey, we don't have that property available, but we have this. And Rugrats is one that it was available, and I was a fan of the cartoon when I was a kid, so it was just a great
Weren't
fit.
we all?
Yeah, exactly. Who wasn't?
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting a bit more about Rugrats and, of course, Arzette as well. I think, the Limited Run booth is always really, like, bustling. It's always really busy whenever I'm at the show, and I think that really does speak to, like, people's, like, hunger for having that physical experience again. So, yeah, I think the work that you guys are all doing here is amazing. So thank you so much for your
Thanks
time.
so much, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
have a
appreciate
great
it.
one.
Yeah, thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.